After days of debates over which party will constitute the majority in Parliament, the Speaker says the NPP MPs, together with the former MP, will be recognized as a majority group.
The new Patriotic Party wing or caucus in Parliament, together with the independent member of Parliament from Formina, and they now constitute the majority group.
The leader of the NDC in Parliament, however, reminded the NPP MPs about the need to show respect. Stalwart and former MP Ningo Pram, however, believes the decision of the former MP to do business with the NPP should have settled the majority-minority debate. Ghana's coronavirus cases have continued to spike in recent days, but there are suggestions the cases are actually a lot more than is being reported by the Ghana Health Service.
You get COVID today, nobody's going to be asking you who you've been in contact with. Nobody's going to come in to try and test the people you come into contact with. It's as if nobody cares. It's like as if we are back to business as usual.
We'll tell you what the situation is on the ground as we speak with one of the doctors at the heart of Ghana's COVID-19 response. The chief executive of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital is meanwhile urging the public to comply with the protocol so the situation will not further deteriorate. In business, government plans to borrow about 2.6 billion cedis in the first quarter of this year. We'll bring you the details in 30 minutes. We'll also tell you the story of Nshia's farming community in the Ashanti region, which has seen a change in fortune following a Joynews agenda story.
Project has also attracted a lot of people coming to the community. Even World Vision has also dug a borehole because of the project that is coming there. And the assembly is also extending electricity.
My name is Israel. Joynews Prime is coming to you live from our Fanafa studios at Kokomilime here in Accra, your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. Speaker of Parliament, Aban Bagbing, has assured he will be fair, impartial, independent, firm and resolute in the dispatch of his duties. In an address during the first major sitting of the 8th Parliament after its inauguration last week, Mr. Bagbing said Parliament must not act as an extension of the executive or be obstructive to the work of the executive.
As Speaker, I will not yield to pressure from any quarter to allow this August House to be turned into a rubber stamp or an obstructor. With this, I move to the impartiality of the Speaker. Let me say a few words about the office of Speaker as envisioned under our Constitution. While past practice might lead some to think otherwise, the truth of the matter is that the Speaker is not a partisan political office. Regardless of which party nominated or voted to elect him or her, and regardless of his or her previous political background, the Speaker of Parliament of Ghana occupies a non-partisan, impartial office. There is no and nothing known as MPP Speaker or NDC Speaker.
And the NDC have 137 seats each in Parliament, while an independent candidate completes the list of legislators in the House. There's been concern the development may pose a challenge for the executive since it will struggle to have its nominations, bills and proposed agreements passed by the legislature. But Mr. Bagbing said Parliament's role in government is an impartial one that requires diligence in probing and scrutinizing bills, nominations and proposed agreements, all geared towards the development of the country.
There is only a Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana and all Ghanaians. Unlike my counterpart in the American House of Representatives, the Ghanaian Speaker is not a member of the House. The Ghanaian Speaker presides over, but does not participate in proceedings of the House. And he or she has no vote. And he or she has no vote, not even a casting vote, in matters before the House. In fact, the speakership in Ghana is designed to be even more impartial and more apolitical than the Speaker of the House of Commons in Westminster. It is indeed to ensure that the Speaker remains impartial in presiding over the affairs of this House and Parliament that his election is done by secret vote.
On the controversy over who controls the House, Speaker Bagbing said MPP and the independent MP constitute the majority group in the House.
Declaration to do business with the MPP caucus. I, Andrew Esiema Amwako, an independent member of Parliament for Fomina constituency, and now the second deputy speaker for the A Parliament, do hereby declare that I shall, for purposes of transacting business in the House, associate with the MPP caucus in the same Parliament. For the avoidance of doubt, I do hereby affirm that I shall cooperate and collaborate with the MPP caucus in the 8th Parliament. Dated this 13th day of January, dated this 13th day of January 2021. Yours faithfully, signed, Honorable Andrew Esiema Amwako, MP, Formula constituency, and copy to the leader of the MPP caucus. Honorable members, with this official declaration to the House will accord him the space to do as he has stated. Whatever he said outside was of no effect so far as the business of the House is concerned. And therefore, he had to do it officially for it to be read and captured in the Hansard. And so what we have now, you have the New Patriotic Party wing or caucus in Parliament, together with the independent member of Parliament from Fomina. And they now constitute the majority group.
Now, leader of the NDC in Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, reminded the MPP MPs about the need to show respect to their colleagues on the other side of the aisle.
The Honorable Osei Mensah, in the 7th Parliament, had it easy because he had comfort of numbers. This time, he does not. And he cannot procure nor add to it other than a cooperation and support from the member from Fomina, nothing more. So, Mr. Speaker, what he must understand, this site, however we are referred to, you will need us going forward. I didn't even reference portions of the Constitution, but any of you can read Article 11, 268, 174. It requires 2/3 majority. You don't have that. You will need us. Going forward. That is why you must tolerate and respect us no matter what. Going forward, the Constitution, I can mention 10 more. Mr. Speaker, I conclude on that note. I have said this because I know my colleague is very experienced lawmaker, that this parliament, cooperation and consensus is compelling and an imperative.
Alban Babing also described as unfortunate and regrettable chaotic events leading to his election as Speaker of the House. Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu and Swami MP Osechi Mensah-Bonsu both condemned the violence.
On matters relating to whoever invited the military to the chamber onto the floor. Going forward, we will demand an inquiry to it in order that it never ever happens, as you have assured. Because it's only democracies that have parliaments, and we have a duty jealously to protect our democracy and to grow our democracy.
It is most unfortunate, as you yourself related to, that the processes leading to your ascension to the high office of the third citizen of this country were characterized by unfortunate, regrettable, and indeed reprehensible incidents. This House must work together to ensure that these unfortunate events do not recur in any form or shape, and these events, Speaker, and conduct must not be accorded space for any further procreation. It is my considered opinion, Mr. Speaker, that this House must move swiftly to resolve to overcome this initial misstep and focus on partnering government to develop the country in unity and tranquility, and indeed secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity as contained in the preamble of the 1992 Constitution.
Now, this morning, some MPP MPs showed up as early as 4 a.m. to sit on the right-hand side of the Speaker. MPP MP for Mansour Dubia, Yafrimpong Ado, says the move was to avoid a recurrence of the NDC's occupation of that side on the first day of sitting. But NDC MP for Bunkrugu, Abednego Bandim, says the NDC does not care.
It's all because of what transpired here on the 7th of January, when we came in to elect our Speaker. The events of that day has culminated in what happened this dawn. You see, because people felt that the majority side is the MPP. So why should these people occupy that place? If anything like that happens again, it's not going to be as smooth as it was.
So for you, you've occupied your rightful place?
Yeah, for now, yes. In law, I mean, yeah, it's backed by law, of course.
Proceedings, as you know, was scheduled to start at 10 a.m. and we were not rushing. You know, I think our colleagues from the other side felt that, you know, as they are insisting that they form the majority, and I guess that was why they rushed into the chamber. But for us, we're not bothered about it. We are so much concerned about the welfare of Ghanaians. We don't care where we sit. we have resolved that the interest of Ghanaians matter to the NDC caucus. It is not about where we sit. In any case, they have something to lose because they are ruling, they have a government, and I think that they should be concentrating on how to deliver their manifesto promise and then stop these childish things about where to sit and where not to sit. So we have gone past that.
Well, there has been the constitution of a selection committee to decide on which MP forms part of which committee in the House. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, our parliamentary correspondent, joins us with more. Now, Joseph, what exactly will this committee do and who are the members of the committee?
It's a committee that will determine which MP should get on which specific committee in Parliament. So we're looking at the 16 different select committees and the standing committees of the House as well. So all the various committees we know, from the Health to the Finance to the Appointments Committee. Of course, the Appointments Committee we know already that it will be chaired by the First Deputy Speaker, as is contained in the standing orders. But the other members have to be determined by this particular committee. And this committee is chaired by Alban Bagbin, the Speaker himself. And then there are 10 NPP MPs on that committee, including Chairman Sabunsu, Afenyo Markins, Anod Dompre Frank, Lydia Sarah Malhassan, so and then Habib Idrisu. So the leadership on the MPP side are all on the committee, plus Ambrose Derry, the former Interior Minister, Ignatius Bafwe, who are the former Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Sarah Adjwasafo, Philip Basoa, and then Brian Echampong. So that's the 10 MPs from the MPP side that will be part of that particular committee. And then there will be 9 NDC MPs on that committee: James Aveji, Harun Idrisu, Muntaka Mubarak, as well as Comfort Doyle. So virtually all the leadership except Ibrahim Ahmed, who is the first deputy whip. And then the other members from the NDC side are Collins Dauda, Ebenezer Telabi, Kesel Atofos, Ladi Ayamba, and then Richard Echampong.
Now, what does the document say about the ratios in the House and how that informed the membership?
It's interesting that when you read through this document, and for the records, this document is signed by both Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, who is described here as the leader of the NPP parliamentary group, and then Harun Idrisu, who is the leader of the NDC parliamentary group. It talks of how, in looking at the membership of the 8 parliaments, and I'm quoting directly from the document, Israel, it says, membership of the 8 parliament is composed as follows: majority caucus, made up of the NPP, that's 137 members, and an independent member, making it 138. And then minority MPs, that's made up of the NDC, 137. And then it goes on to say this ratio of 138 is to 137 in the 275 members of parliament for the time being will guide the composition of the committees, the delegations, groups, and associations in the House. So the point is being made that this ratio, as we've seen it, representing 138, 137, will not only guide this selection committee nominations, but then it would also guide the general composition of the various committees, as well as other groups that we would have coming out of the work of this particular selection committee. And again, it's striking to find that this document references majority caucus representing the NPP MPs on that particular committee and the NDC MPs on that particular committee.
All right. Now, the NDC has all this while been pushing for the chairs of the parliamentary committees to be split equally between the 2 parties. Will this committee be able to address this issue?
That's exactly what they are expected to do. There is the general understanding in terms of what the standing orders require by giving a cap on the total number of MPs who should be part of each committee. But then when you read through it for each of the committees, all it says is the committee shall have a chairman, shall have a vice chairman, shall have a ranking member, shall have a deputy ranking, and then all the other members. So it states that and leaves a decision on the composition in terms of who should be where, first of all to the selection committee and to a large extent to Parliament as a whole. So yes, this committee will determine that subject to the approval of the House generally.
All right, thank you very much, Parliamentary Correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. But staying with this subject, an NDC stalwart and former member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Enoch Mensah has, meanwhile, described as needless the protracted minority-majority dispute, explaining that for him, the decision of the former MP to do business with the NPP side should have settled the matter.
Today, But I remember some of these things were being discussed, and President Rawlings said, this it's an issue, an engineering issue is something has to be done about. Extending Akosombo outside through, the regions. At that time, 9 regions, and quite a number of them were depending on plants. And he said it has to be done, and we will do it. And he was able to do it. Those days when we traveled to he created he created that region. Anyway, every time we went there, you have to drive all the way down to Sola. You can't just wake up that you are going to be a president. You would have had the apprenticeship through the process. And that foundation was put out there by Papa J. It's a solid foundation and nobody can ever shake it.
We can't leave without talking about current happenings. You have been in Parliament for God knows how long. And we have a parliamentary situation. They don't want to describe it as a hanged parliament. That is 137, an independent candidate. He has chosen to do business with the NPP side.
Yeah.
What do you foresee? I'm sure you saw events of 8th January and going into it tomorrow. They're going to Parliament tomorrow. What do you foresee? What are your thoughts?
What I would say is that they should, relax and do what will be good for this nation.
Which is?
I think the brouhaha must end. Because it's not, you meet people in town, they tell you, when you were there, these things were not happening. Why? People just have to be reasonable because there's time for everything. And when you have such issues, you just have to dialogue. And after dialogue, but what is happening is not the first time. You remember that when President Kufuor first won, he didn't have the majority. But there's Indum, he courted Indum. Indum decided you have to sit with, you can't be hanging there as independent. And Indum was the only person from his party. Sabian and others, people at those times decided that they would sit with this party. And it has always been their party that they sat with. Then,
but in this case, the NDC side says that even though the former MP is sitting with the NPP, it doesn't make them a majority. That's what your party is saying.
Some of those things. Maybe, I think people will wake up. People will wake up. Majority, if it's one, it's majority. One is one. But I believe that they'll be given good counsel by the leadership of the party. Both, parties want to sit down and.
They've been trying to sit. They've had.
You're watching Joynews Prime. We're taking a break, and we're still to come in the bulletin. We'll be telling you the COVID situation on the ground as we speak with one of the doctors at the heart of Ghana's COVID-19 response. The chief executive of the Kolibuti Hospital is meanwhile urging the public to comply with the protocols so the situation will not further deteriorate. And then in business, government plans to borrow about 2.6 billion cedis in the first quarter of this year. We'll bring you the details in 30 minutes. Do stay tuned in.
Hello there and welcome to Business here on Joynews Prime. I am Gifty, and up here in business tonight, the government of Ghana will borrow 2.6 billion cedis as fresh monies to meet its financing requirement in the first quarter of this year. That's according to its issuance calendar. Charles Nixon Yeboah has more.
The first quarter of this year, government 3 billion cedis, 19.7 cedis will be used to roll over much. 91-day treasury will be the. According to the issuance calendar for the first quarter of this year, government plans to issue a gross amount of 22.3 billion cedis, of which 19.7 billion cedis will be used to roll over maturing debts. Per the calendar, the 91-day treasury bill will be the largest amount that the government will be looking to raise. It is expected to raise about 10.4 billion cedis. The lowest amount of about 111 million cedis will be done through a 20-year bond, whilst the 91-day and 182-day treasury bills will be issued weekly. The 364-day treasury bill will be issued bi-weekly. This will be done through the primary auction, with settlement being the transaction date plus 1 working day. Financial instruments of 2-year up to 7-year will be issued through the book building method, which means the pricing guideline or interest rate will be set before flotation. The issuance of the 20-year bond will, however, be done via shelf offering, which will give the government the ability to control the price. It will, however, be reopened based on investors' request and on-market conditions. Ghana's public debt hit a little over 273 billion cedis, about 71% of gross domestic product in September last year.
Charles Nixon Yeboah with that report there. Away from that, transport operators could in the coming weeks push for an increase in transport fares. This was after the bulk oil distributors reviewed prices of the various petroleum products that they will be selling to the oil marketing companies from this weekend. Here is George Rafi with more.
The review will see prices going up between 1 to a little over 3%. That should work out to a litre of diesel going for 5 Ghana cedis, 5 pesos, resulting in a gallon being sold at 22 Ghana cedis, 72 pesos. Petrol will be sold at 5 Ghana cedis, 14 pesos. That should mean that a gallon could be going for 23 Ghana cedis, 13 pesos. Now, there is currently a convention that has been established between the transport operators and government that any time prices of petroleum products go up by more than 5% within a quarter, that should trigger talks for an increase in fares. The bulk oil importers should forward their new prices to the oil marketing companies from this weekend, with necessary adjustment to be made from next week. But hold on, all these things may not happen if the over 100 oil marketing companies decide to absorb the expected increase.
And who knows, will they absorb? Have they ever? We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, though, the Executive Secretary of the Chamber for Petroleum Consumers Ghana, Duncan Amwa, has described as unfair plans or any plans by transport operators to increase transport fares.
Clearly, we are in for some increases and it looks more to be sustained. However, any discussion on transport fares would have to be done within its proper context. The last time we increased transport fares in the country, if you recall, these were times when fuel prices were hovering around 5.62, if my memory serves me right. So 5.62 pesos. Then we had some increases in transport fares. Subsequently, because of COVID, we started experiencing reductions or decreases in fuel prices. If you recall, there was a steering committee meeting at the Transport Ministry to compel transport operators to reduce fares. Some tried, but a majority of them decided not to reduce fares. So prices were sustained. It will be quite difficult for anyone to, at this point, where fuel prices are still below 5 cedis per litre to come back with an argument for any increases in transport fares. That will be an injustice to the Ghanaian people, and we do not think that these kinds of conversations, we should start having them even at this point. They will be out of context properly.
That's COPEC's Executive Secretary Duncan Amuade speaking with Daryl Kwao. Now, the National Board for Small-Scale Industries has opened up applications for micro, small and medium enterprises to seek support for their innovation and digitalization drives. The scheme, in partnership with the German corporations, quote, Invest for Jobs, is expected to equip more than 500 MSMEs to have their businesses online and make use of digital channels. This follows the devastating effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. Executive Director for the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, Kosi Yankee, tells Joy Business that this scheme will be a relief for small businesses.
As much as possible, our partnership, it's a 1.5 million euro, which is 10 million Ghana cedis approximately. Our goal is to bring on board partners who would go into about 500 MSMEs and provide them with the tools and the needs that they have under digitalization. If it's a website, if it's an e-commerce portal, if it's even access to payment systems, if it's access to opportunities to sell their products at a time like this. Because if you are aware, when COVID-19 really happened, it impacted the way we do business. It impacted how we receive funding. So to be able to strengthen the businesses, our partnership with GIZ focuses on really building the strength of these businesses so that we can grow them at a time such as this.
Do you have an expected number of beneficiaries from this?
I think our target as a team, between GIZ and ourselves, has been working around 500 SMEs, really translating into about 1,500 plus jobs is what we seek to work with and support over time.
Well, SMEs can access the application on the website of the NBSSI or the business advisory centers located in the various districts of the country. And that's it for Business this hour. I'm back after 8. I'm Gifty and Pian Israelai is here to continue with the news.
You're watching Joy News Prime. It's now time to bring you sports. My name is Hans Mensah Ando. Now, Yao returned to football management, got off to a dream start as his first game in charge of Great Olympics saw them defeat Inter Allies by 2-0 in the City Derby on Friday. Striker Maxwell Niabi scored a penalty in each half as the Wonder Club returned to winning ways in the 2020-2021 league campaign.
This is a home fixture for them. Would it feel like an away fixture for Olympics is the other thing. Against Ashanti Gold, and everybody you speak around the club is on the same page about
in this season's campaign.
Yeah.
Our referees, Mubarak, in battle, although it's early days yet. Now we get a game underway into Osei Bonsu. Goes past Aso. Osei Bonsu twists him, gets in the box. Is a penalty?
The contact's coming in from Abuga. That's what the referee sees and points to the spot. I will see clearer from this angle. Was there contact? Enough contact to bring him down?
Was it in the box?
Seemed to be in the box. We see it better from here. As it makes its way into the box, right on that line, it's in the box and it's a foul.
Rashid Saidu, Maxwell Abe steps forward and he converts it 1-0. Great Olympics up by 1-0 here at the Accra Stadium. Cut back. Oh, Osei Bonsu again. Michel Otu flops that opportunity.
Again with lovely play. Take a look at Awaku finding space for himself. Makes and runs and rings around the defenders and finds the space again. Lovely cutback. Evades everybody, but Bonsu just can't connect into it. And once the ball falls towards you, you'd be putting money on this to find the back of the net. But he blasts it just over the bar. Should be making a 2-0 from this ring.
Fad Ibrahim. Lovely switch in. Oh, that was Nafiu Sulemana. Begging opportunity. Jamal Dean's delivery. Lovely control from Kwe. Is it a handball? It's a handball. It's a penalty. So Edu, he comes off the bench and he concedes.
I think this is harsh. I really think this is harsh on Inter Allies. There you say an opportunity to make it 2.
That's it. It's 2-0. A brace for Maxwani Abekwe. His 4th goal of the...
Again, very, very confident run up onto the ball.
Now, coaches Yao Pueko and Daniel Mujikanovic had contrasting comments after the game, whereas the elated Yao Pueko dedicated the victory to coach Anna Walker. Daniel bemoaned his team's lack of killer instinct.
It was tense. It was tense, but we thank God for the points. We thank the fans, the management, and we did it for Coach Anna Walker. So, you know, it's a good victory.
Maxwell Abe started today leading the line. He did get 2 goals, although all being from the spot. How important is it for his confidence?
Yeah, we're working on them, each and every one. Where there is they fall short, we're going to work on it. We had few days, but we're going to have a lot of days to work on goal scoring and everything. It's about confidence, and I believe immediately he hit the back of the net, like he did twice today. It's good for us. So the next game, we hope he'll come to the party again.
Yeah, when you look at the table now, you're just 1 point off the leading team. Truly in camp of Olympics, what is the mood and the thinking? Could this be the season?
It's about belief. It's about belief. You know, the table is open. The league is open. Is anybody at all can win. And because when Hassan and Kotoko are not in their form, the rest we need to profit. So that's what we are doing. We're taking it game after game. And today is another game we took, another step we took. And we believe the next game we're going to work, and then we see how it goes.
10 minutes, I'm really disappointed about it. I think we started the game really badly, giving a penalty away, and then from there it's a struggle, you know. But I feel like in the middle of the first half, I feel that we are the best team. We are trying to produce some chances, a little bit close, but we are just not effective enough to do the job done, you know. And I feel like the second half in the beginning, we start also well. But again, we don't have the quality on the last third, and then they are coming slowly back in the game, and then again a penalty. So today I'm really disappointed. We lose on 2 penalties, and through the most of the game I actually feel that we are playing okay. But again, we don't get the quality on the last third, and then you don't get the points.
So what has to change in the final third then, if the team has to get the ball into the back of the net? What do you feel has to change? Are you expecting to bring in players, or something has to change on what you have?
In future, maybe, yeah. Of course, we're probably going to bring 1 or 2, 3 players in. But right now, we have still 4 matches before the window opens. So for me, it's like we have to work harder and see if we can, at some point, put 1 ball in. You know, for me, it's like we are making too many touches in the box instead of just going on the first touch and try to put the ball in.
A former chairman of the Ghana Football Association's Players Status Committee, Kofi Menu, has questioned the decision of the Ethics Committee for handing him a 1-year ban from all football-related activities. We'll bring you the full story later in the bulletin. That's it for now.
Right, it's time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you, Easy. How you doing?
I'm well. The 90s Jam is ongoing right now.
I'll tell you about one surprise act later on, but let's talk about 6 screens.
Okay.
So he was earlier, he was on JNI today, and he's been talking about his music career and the kind of music that he does. You know that, he plays with the guitar.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't really understand how he goes about his music, but he's been explaining to us here.
Just work with what you have, work with what you've got. Love the life you live the life you love. If you. My aim is whatever I play, be it somebody's song, be it an original piece, I want somebody to hear what the song is saying.
Yeah.
My main aim is not for you to jump and dance. I want you to hear the song. If you can still vibe and dance, that's a different thing. Yeah. So I will not put myself in any box like people say. I do a bit of everything, but over the acoustic guitar.
All right.
If you concentrate on the things you do not have, you might never ever have enough. Oh, I've got what I've got, and you've got what you've got. So keep your red wine, I'll sip my sobolo. Keep your slim girl, I love my obolo.
All right, thank you very much, Becky Bex, for bringing us Showbiz. Up next, we have more news. Do stay tuned in. Now, Joynews is learning government has commissioned scientists to investigate if any new strain of COVID-19 has found its way into the country. It is part of government's probe to understand if the rising number of infections and hospitalizations in Ghana has anything to do with a highly contagious new strain found in other countries. Ghana is now facing what virologist Dr. John Amwesi says is a near-crisis situation as the virus continues to spread faster with more symptomatic cases. The Ghana Health Service website shows the active cases are now more than 1,400. Managing trustee of the Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund, Senyo Hosi, who has been speaking about the country's management of the pandemic, is however of the opinion the full story is not being told.
There's a total loss of agency, and I don't think the government's communication and management of events have really helped heighten the agency that's required. At the beginning of this entire pandemic and its entry into Ghana, there was a very high sense of caution, and it was because government had heightened the alert level as well as the agency that was required to deal with it. With the politics coming into play, there's been a major change and shift in that entire phenomenon, and we've seen all of us lowering our guard, and I think that definitely has to change. Our ICUs are full. It's not rocket science. These are facts. This week I have lost 2 friends, and then I've actually had a very close friend lose a niece. So in effect, 3 people very well connected to me, all in this week. I've had a lot of cases being reported, and a lot of friends reaching out to me to help them get a bed here or a bed there. It's becoming unsustainable. Our health facilities are getting highly overstretched, and Ghanaians must realize that there's a major agency at this time, and the politicians and the government people, the public officers, must communicate same so the public can react appropriately. It's just unfortunate. You know, we started this with a lot of testing. We started this with a lot of tracing, a lot of consciousness and awareness, and all of a sudden everything fizzles out. You get COVID today, nobody's going to be asking you who you've been in contact with. Nobody's going to come in to try and test the people you've come into contact with. It's as if nobody cares. It's like as if we are back to business as usual. I mean, that to some extent will be acceptable under certain circumstances, but not under a COVID circumstance. I mean, it definitely goes straight to it goes back to government. First of all, the politics must stop. You know, the politics must stop. The suppression of data must stop. The deliberate, disregard or suspension of tracing to help keep the numbers down must also stop. People really need to know that this is widespread. It is not 1,000 and whatever it is that's being bandied around. This is dishonest. It must stop. Start being truthful with the people so people realize that there's a real agency in the country. Otherwise, sooner than later, all our health systems are going to crash, and you will not even get health access for simple diseases, even like malaria at some point. Because there will be no hospital bed for anybody. Our hospitals will get overrun. So the key thing here is the politics stopping, government taking full responsibility and being honest about what is happening, so we can actually get the right orientation and positioning of the public. We need to review our restrictions and intensify them just like we did in the early days. Our public gatherings, everything is just gone everywhere. We're all doing parties, we're all attending events, we're all having funerals, and funerals have gotten back to the sizes that they used to be. All right, I've been to a few funerals in these past few months. And it's as if we don't have COVID anymore in this country. You know, the restrictions on the number of people gathering must be fully enforced again. All these weddings and all that must also go back to scale.
The chief executive of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opoku Wari Ampoma, has also been speaking about the lack of adherence to the protocols.
Work has been done to try and open the new infectious disease center at Ganyes to make it fully operational, and we are Kolebu Hospital is supporting them with some staff to help to train because we have more experienced staff here, obviously, and so they are helping to train some of the staff in some of those places so that they can enhance their effectiveness. We had a fire outbreak in our ICU, but we've managed to put it back to it, so it's coming back on stream to also support the fight against COVID. And we are also hoping that our own infectious disease treatment unit, which is under construction, will be completed expeditiously so that will also support the case numbers. But the truth is that no matter how many hospital beds that you make available, if we do not adhere to the safety measures, even in the best of countries, you are going to be overwhelmed, because there's no amount of preparation, no amount of infrastructure development that can help prepare you for a pandemic of this nature. And that is how come even the advanced countries who have got more hospitals, more advanced infrastructure are suffering. Some of them are in lockdown as we speak. You know, I'm in touch with some of my colleagues from around the world, UK, France, in the US, etc. And they are all seriously overstretched as we speak. And the truth is that we have been a bit lucky in Ghana in the sense that our fatality numbers were low, but that shouldn't make us complacent. And that is where sometimes I think that some of us are being irresponsible. It's true that for young people who do not have pre-existing medical conditions, they may, get the disease and they will shake it off. They'll just like, they feel like they have a bad cold or they have malaria and they'll shake it off. But the truth is that what about the elderly? What about those? There are young people who also have medical conditions. And so would you want that on your account somebody loses their life? Is that the kind of thing you want to have hanging on your conscience? So I think let's all be responsible. The wearing of the face mask does not protect you. It protects the other person. So when I see somebody who is wearing a face mask, it's a sign that that person is responsible. That person is a thoughtful person. That person has empathy. And it doesn't want to be the source of infection for other people. So,
well, the Ashanti region has recorded a 339% increase in active cases of COVID-19 in less than a month. Active cases rose to 79 from the 18 recorded before the Christmas festivities. 7 are currently in critical condition. Health authorities in the region say both treatment and testing centers are being expanded in the wake of the increasing cases. Ashanti Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrang, explains measures to help contain the spread.
Yes, the surveillance system we adopted when we started with the lockdown was that you map up an area whenever there's an infection, and then you go and survey the whole area and then pick the susceptible cases and then you test them. We are not going to do that again. This time we will only look at the contacts. So whenever there's infection, the contact tracing team will go and then interview the contacts and then test the contacts. We have expanded the testing centers. So in Ashanti region, so far we have Konfanochi testing, we have UNST, KCCR also testing, and then we have the Kumasi South Hospital also testing. We are not encouraging private facilities to set up testing centers in Ashanti region because it's like a commercial entity. So the moment it becomes commercial, then the surveillance system is lost. Somebody will go there, will walk in and do the test. Once the test is positive, if he may decide to disclose it or not, and that really poses a lot of challenge. So far in Ashanti region, we've decided that we will use these 3 key testing centers. But as I said, during the Christmas period, we had a lot of social gathering. and you know the incubation period. And so if we are seeing increasing numbers of cases, then it stands to reason that most probably because of the festivities. And also, as we are opening the schools, there's also chances that the social gathering will be more. So you need to strengthen your surveillance system so you can pick all the cases, follow up, and those that will need to go on isolation, you go on isolation. For the meantime, we will open the Professor Frimpong Boate's Memorial Center, which will serve for both treatment of minor, mild ailments, and then also for isolation, those who will need isolation. It's about 70-bed facility.
Dr. Tinkra observed a decline in adherence to the safety protocols, especially during funerals and other social gatherings. The region, he says, intends to reactivate treatment and isolation centers closed after the peak of the pandemic.
We intend to open other isolation centers we closed down during the peak period. So we are considering reopening Frimpong Boate's Memorial Clinic, which will serve for both isolation and then treatment of minor, mild cases. But so far, Kofanochi is admitting cases, and then Kumasi South is also admitting cases. So the cases are going up. As at now, we have 7 people who are on admission. We have 6 at Kofanochi. We have 1 at Kumasi South. There are other cases that are not sick. They are being managed at home. As at now, in Ashanti region, we have 79 active cases. Before the Christmas, the cases were down. We had only 18 active cases. But we believe that with the festivities and people not adhering to the protocols, that's the reason why we are having the numbers going up. And we believe that once the festivities are over and people are adhering to the protocols, we can control the outbreak now. But for the meantime, what we are doing in the region is that we have to make sure that we adhere closely to the 3 pillars that we always talk about. The enhanced hand hygiene protocol. It seems a lot of people have forgotten about it. Now you don't see the sanitizers, you don't see the Veronica buckets. Anywhere you go, it seems that people have completely forgotten it. We should never forget that. The second is the wearing of face mask. Now you go through town and then you realize that we are in trouble in the sense that a lot of people are not wearing the face mask. They've totally disregarded it, most people. And then the social distancing. But the challenge we have is with the organization of funerals and then festivals and other things. You know that with the funerals, at least we are supposed to have a minimum number of people. But you go to funerals and you realize that they've disregarded the protocols completely. There's overcrowding, they are not wearing the face mask and other things. So what we want people to understand is that the COVID-19 is still with us. If we don't adhere to the protocols, the cases will go up.
And incidentally, our editorial for today is on COVID-19 in the recent upsurge.
Imagine coming close to death. 1 minute you're fine, the next you are struggling to breathe. That experience may not sound familiar to some of you because you may not have had a close shave with death when it comes to the fast-spreading coronavirus. Perhaps you're one of those who believe the coronavirus is so very far away from you. That is, until its icy claws envelope you in a not-so-warm embrace. And that was exactly the turning point for my colleague, Raymond Aqua.
At 6 p.m., I was lying down when I started feeling the extreme version of the feverish conditions I started feeling earlier in the day.
Okay.
Very extreme. I mean, I was lying in an air-conditioned room, but I felt I was in a very heated environment with heat coming out of my nostrils.
Raymond was lucky, but several others were not. The Ghana Health Service says almost 1,500 active cases have been recorded within a space of just 4 weeks. And so far, 340 people have been killed by the disease. In Kumasi, the active cases rose from 18 to 79 during this short Christmas period. That's an increase of over 300%.
We had a lot of social gathering, and you know the incubation period. And so if we are seeing increasing numbers of cases, then it stands to reason that most probably because of the festivities.
I mean, clearly our numbers shot up during the Christmas festivities when many of us became irresponsible and strictly failed to adhere to COVID protocols, celebrating at parties and other gatherings with careless abandon. But it has also been blamed on importation of cases from other countries via travelers arriving at our ports of entry. Simply put, some of our returnees also carry the virus back home. So we lowered our guard, and within this short space of time, we are suffering the consequences of our irresponsibility. I mean, hospitals are overstretched and intensive care units are full, compelling authorities to sometimes turn away patients.
You have situations where our COVID treatment centers and all the beds are also full. Sometimes it's a hassle. And like I said, not all facilities have the ability to keep a lot of patients on their wards or designated wards for care.
So we know why the number of cases is shooting up. The question is, why are we not seeing the effort we witnessed before by government to show the spread or to slow the spread of the virus when we were first confronted with it? Why has the contact tracing and the testing stopped? Why? I mean, there are some experts who say that if we were testing, the situation would be a lot worse than we have it. That is to say that our numbers would be much more. So is it the case that government is suppressing information on the virus?
Politics must stop. You know, the politics must stop. The suppression of data must stop. The deliberate, disregard or suspension of tracing to help keep the numbers down must also stop.
Start being truthful with the people and resume the contact tracing and testing. How will you know the extent of the havoc the disease is wreaking if you don't? I mean, if you don't test people, how would you know? Or is it the potential huge cost that it may be associated with? And with schools being reopened, how certain are we that our children will not be easy targets of the virus? But we are seeing a rise in the numbers also because the sensitization and education on the virus is virtually non-existent. Some people appear to have forgotten it exists and insist that they will never be victim to it.
If COVID-19 was truly in the system, we would have all been dead by now. I'll never get the virus. God forbid.
Outside Ghana.
So there's minimal or zero education. People are not observing the protocols and our numbers continue to rise. And even for people who have face masks, listen to why they don't wear them.
About me, consider COVID-19. When I wear the mask, I can't even breathe well. Even though I have it in my back, I can show you. But when I use it, I can't breathe. Say, that be the problem. So even though I'm afraid to the virus.
Baffling, isn't it? But it will take enforcement of the laws to ensure compliance of the protocols. So it begs the question, why are we not enforcing the laws? The laws that we spend time and effort to draft so that enforcement will compel everyone to take this disease seriously. I mean, we have all let our guard down and we are paying the price for it. Many are dead and many more continue to die. Must it strike close to home before you take it seriously? If you don't respect your health, respect mine. Mask up, because you could potentially be saving not just your own life, but someone else's.
Welcome once again to Business News. I am Gifty Andopia. Let's take our attention to a story that has made headlines this week. Provisional report on investigations from the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, reveals massive breach of laws by Chinese investment firm Chimo. There's more in this report.
understand that the Economic and Organized Crime Office had already been investigating the firm since June last year, based on complaints from some quarters. This was way before the Securities and Exchange Commission actually submitted a letter dated January 4th, 2021 to IOCO to also look into the operations. In the said letter, the SEC wanted IOCO to look into the operations and take action against Chai because they are undertaking some capital market activity without the required license. Joy Business is learning that IOCO during the investigations managed to engage officials of the Chinese firm to really understand what they were doing, which they claim is an e-commerce business. But after the investigations, it came to light that the firm was actually engaged with other activities not allowed to do. IOCO, in their provisional report, noted that despite Chai's registration with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, the firm also needed a license from other regulators, like seeking approval from the Bank of Ghana to engage in the said e-commerce venture, which the firm itself admits. IOCO also cited the firm for undertaking some capital market dealings, which it also needed blessings from the Securities and Exchange Commission. It is, however, not clear whether IOCO may call for the shutting down of the company or prosecution. Meanwhile, the company in question, Chai, in a notice to its customers issued today, assured them that there is no cause for alarm. In the said notice, the firm is insisting that they are an e-commerce trading platform where goods are traded, arguing that their operations do not fall under the supervision of the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. According to them, their operations do not require the supervision or approval of these regulators. The firm, in the statement, challenges the Investment Promotion Center as well as the Security and Exchange Commission to come up with some evidence to back their claim, as they insist they are not taking any deposits from clients or indulging in any investment activity.
And that's the story there for you. Now, stationery dealers are worried about the slow pickup in sales as basic schools reopen from Monday, January 18. Buyers are also complaining about the cost of stationery items. President Akufo-Addo announced the reopening of basic schools from Monday when he last addressed the nation on the state of COVID-19. Joy Business visited the Central Business District here in Accra to interact with dealers of exercise books and other stationery, as well as shoppers. This is what they had to say.
Business is picking. Yeah. To compare with the previous times when there was lockdown, I may say now we have started another era and the books are picking. We are getting back to the former time as it was. They are patrolling. Yeah, they are coming in their numbers. Upon all the difficulties, financial difficulties, I can see people are prepared for education, so they are patronizing. As for the prices, what I can say, there is a little bit hack-up in prices. A little bit hack-up in prices.
Is it affecting your business?
It will. It is. It is affecting the business as well as the customers who are buying. Because at first, let's say if the person can buy about 10 books, now he cannot buy it at 10 books, he can buy only at 5. So more or less it's affecting. Yeah.
For now, it's no, like, just small. They're just buying the stationery. And those people are going to the phone to and they are buying the past questions. Oh, before the reopening, it's very hard for us as a booksellers because as the lockdown has come, the schools have closed. Some of the parents, they come for storybook for the children. Some they are doing the classes for house. They come for the past questions. Apart from that, nothing. After the president have announced the yes, people have coming for the stationery. Some are coming for the textbook. Some the school have given the list already. Some they are coming for the nurses book. Nurses book who are going to the first year now. They are just buying the nurses books.
So you think business is going well for you?
Not much, because the money is not in the system. There's no money. Yes, as you said that there's no money. The parents, if they come, instead of the books they buy for 5, they only buy 2 and go and come buy 1. That's like that.
As the textbooks are not ready in the market,
they are starting to buy the stationaries because all the publishers' textbooks are not in the market. So the parents has decided to buy the stationaries for their children to send it to school. When they go to the school, the teachers will give them the list of the books so that they will know the publishers' books that they are going to use before they will come and buy the textbooks. Oh, it's going fast. All the people here are buying stationaries, and it's good for us. Just that the Nataraj people has increased their prices. This is affecting the cost of the stationaries, so the parents are suffering. And I'm appealing to the government that they would allow the Nataraj people to reduce the prices so that the parents can afford to buy it.
I'm here for textbooks and exercise books for my son, yeah. But actually, I think things have changed. The prices have increased a bit. So I have nothing to do. Once they are going to school, I have no option than buying it. Yeah.
I came to get an exercise book and notary for my little sister. But I was expecting to buy them around 40 Ghana cedis. But due to what she wants the Nataraj items. And I was told the Nataraj is now expensive. So with the expectation that I came in with, I realized I had to pay 60 Ghana, but I was expecting to pay 40 cedis. But all the same, we are managing small. Since school we are reopening, we have no choice but to purchase it. So we are okay.
Well, how much did you buy yours for? In the meantime, some fashion designers within the Kumasi metropolis say business is recovering gradually since the president announced resumption of schools from the long COVID-19 break. Business went down drastically during the peak of COVID-19, which made statutory payments to the government a challenge. Players in the dressmaking industry are, however, hopeful of recovery.
A number of businesses suffered a setback at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to the layout of workers. Small and medium enterprises were mostly affected. Businesses are gradually bouncing back as the government eases COVID-19 restrictions. Fashion designer Abubakar Sadiq Usman is hopeful business will bounce back if COVID-19 cases do not worsen.
Since the president have been lifting the ban gradually on social events and everything, now that the schools are open, we hope within the next 3 months the economy will be back to its feet, everything will be back to normal. Like, we just pray this disease and this sickness goes down.
As school reopens, dressmakers are looking forward to regaining losses recorded during the peak of the COVID-19.
COVID-19 nearly collapsed my business. We were not getting contracts. All my workers were at home. Business went down, but now that school has reopened, we are getting contracts from schools. We thank God business is gradually picking. We pray it will continue. We believe business will peak once schools are reopened.
Chief Executive Officer of Unigay Fashions, Janet Abobigu, says adopted strategies at the peak of the COVID-19 had been helpful for her business. The company is currently sewing uniforms and face masks for schools. Mrs. Abobigu believes business will peak now that students are going back to school.
Those who are cooking for the schools, those who are selling books, pen and pencils, many people do business in schools, and all those business were collapsed. So now they are going to start. I think business is going to move again.
Prince Apia reporting.
And that's it for business, and that'll be all for me tonight. I am Gifty, and the Apia Israelite is still here.
Thanks for staying with us here on Joynews Prime Time to bring you what remains of sports. My name is Hans Mensano, and former chairman of the Ghana Football Association's Player Status Committee, Kofi Menu, has questioned the decision of the Ethics Committee for handing him a one-year ban from all football-related activities for failure to cooperate with the Ethics Adjudicatory Committee. Kofi Menu was speaking to Joy Sports.
You cannot use a bad law to ban me. I don't feel that. They are only joking. They are joking. Because the Ethics Committee, as they said there, there are lawyers there. The code, Article 5, requires that the committee must have two chambers. The investigatory chamber, then the adjudicatory chamber. How can one committee investigate and adjudicate? Under which judicial jurisprudence does that happen? And you sit there and say, you have banned Kofi Manu because I have written to you pointing out the flaws. And there, I see the decision as an error. So I have still asked them to refer to Article 42 of the same Code of Ethics, where they are allowed to correct any obvious error they have made, so that they should correct it. Then form the two chambers. They investigate me. They give me the opportunity to come and state my side of the story. Then, if at the end of it all, the investigatory chamber finds that there is a prima facie case against Kofi Manu, then they will send it to the adjudicatory chamber. And by law and in the code, once they have sent the final report to you and the case filed to you, if the adjudicatory chamber decides that there is something they can hang on to try Kofi Manu, it is incumbent on them to send the file and the final report to me to study to be able to open a defense. You don't do all these things. I write to you informing that this is the procedure you have to take. You say you have banned me. I don't see it as a ban. No. Me, I don't waste money like that too. I know. What am I going to do with at CAS? The law is there. I will force you to respect the law. You go, and there is a specific rule, Article 64(4). If you are invited and you are not cooperating, but the question is, cooperating at the investigatory stage or cooperating at the adjudicatory stage? Who goes to court and he has been charged and they just say you are not cooperating, so I have sentenced you first for not cooperating? Where does it happen? What is this? It is at the investigative level, at the police station, where you are forced to come and assist in investigation. And they are lawyers. I'm sorry.
Now, trainers and other pundits believe juvenile boxer Akim Loko, son of boxing trainer Lawrence Loko, has the potential to become a top boxer. They believe the 13-year-old could become the next boxing great in Ghana.
Yeah, it's a kid who was growing up to see his father getting up, from bed, trying to go to his work, like going to training, picking up your pad and your tools. All the time I call it tools because that's what we use. He will follow me even when he was not even walking. So he will come with me to this gym and start crawling over here when I'm training. So keep doing that up to the age of 4, and he start making signs that he wants to do it. And I asked him, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, then fine. Then I'm looking up to you. I'm ready for you. So honestly, from 4 years, he started making the sign fully. So I start training him from there. He's having a father who is doing boxing before he was born. So that tells you, I talk to him a lot. I give him the chance to watch a lot of the boxing. I give him a list of boxers to watch currently and previous. So he developed to start following Iquot. And I was asking him why. He said, no, coach. He called me coach at that time. Coach, the way he jab is very strong. And I said, look at you, look at your body. You're talking about somebody jab is strong. So at least he proved to me the reason why he was following and want to be like Iquot. At first, he normally talks about something like Deontay Wilder. But whatever the case, he's not a big weight for now. But it's good. He has somebody that is what's calling now. But he has people to follow Iquot, to fight like Iquot. So that means he has a lot to do. As we all know, the passion, the effort that I put in his fight, then time. So I just have to allow him to follow whoever he chooses to follow.
What is in the son that makes him have so much interest in the sun? I followed him. One fighting talent. He's a wit boxer. He's growing, and I think that we should look at him with a different eye that we look at all other boxers.
This boy, I should say, is privileged to have somebody like him because I know what he can do and the extent to which he can reach. So this boy, I can stand here and say with authoritatively that he's going to become one of the great boxers Ghana has ever produced.
That'll be all for sports. There is more sport at myjoyonline.com/sport. And of course, you can follow us on all the social media handles on Twitter, Joy Sport, GA Joy Sport, on Facebook, at Joy Sports on Instagram. My name is Hans Mensa Ando. You have a lovely weekend.
Now, until now, the story of Inshayeso, a farming community in the Asante Akim North District of the Ashanti region, was that of despair, neglect, and misery. Pupils and their teachers schooled in life-threatening, dilapidated school infrastructure. Girls who traveled several kilometers to nearby Ananukrum to attend JHS were often sexually assaulted by herdsmen. The herdsmen also constantly attacked settler farmers who lack basic amenities such as potable water, electricity, and motorable roads. Ohimingteria reports of a remarkable change in fortunes in the Inshayeso community following a Joynews agenda story.
Life in this farming community was characterized by despair as herdsmen threatened the only livelihood of residents here. Many settlers were forced to abandon their homes of many years for fear of coming under attack. It was double anguish for school children and their teachers who were forced to study under life-threatening, dilapidated classrooms.
The first time I visited the area, but I was shocked to see how teachers were able to manage to teach the kids because the atmosphere was not conducive for teaching and learning.
Female students who trekked several kilometers to nearby Ananukrum to access junior high school education were sexually assaulted by herdsmen. A Joynews agenda which highlighted the plight of residents was enough to put Inshayeso community on the road to remarkable recovery and identity. MTN Ghana Foundation has since built and handed over a fully furnished 6-unit classroom block and a teacher's bungalow to the community. That perhaps has opened the community for more development. World Vision Ghana provided a borehole and government has extended electricity to the community while roads have improved. Inshayeso is now the toast of many.
The project has also attracted a lot of people coming to the community. Even World Vision has also dug a borehole because of the project that is coming there. And the assembly is also extending electricity.
Assembly member for the area, Peter Abaji, says a lot of people are relocating to the community.
We have been able to get water, that is borehole. We have gotten electricity. Ohimingteria and multimedia have done a fantastic job and they've really helped our community.
For residents, access to basic amenities has brought a new life to Inshayeso.
Life is now sweet. Life is now good at Inshayeso community.
Officials of MTN Ghana Foundation are happy at the positive developments. They say the development explains the telecom giant's mantra of brightening lives. Robert Kuzo is a senior manager at MTN Ghana Foundation.
It's a good feeling for MTN Ghana Foundation to see that a project of such nature has actually awakened other organizations, to also go into that community and look at what is needed to complement what MTN Ghana Foundation has done there.
Robert Kuzo is grateful to Joynews for the intervention that has changed the lives of many people.
We are grateful to Multimedia for the opportunity for bringing this to the fore of the MTN Ghana Foundation. And we continue to urge you to look around the communities that really have genuine need of this nature, and it will be taken to our board of directors for consideration.
From Inshayeso in Asante Akim North for Joynews, Ohimingteria reporting.
The Australian High Commissioner to Ghana has called for collaborative efforts between religious and health authorities in tackling mental health issues in the West African country. Speaking to the media during a day's working visit to the Volta regional capital home, he expressed belief a combination of religion and healthcare could be the game changer in the provision of mental health care as a country struggling to meet the needs of persons with mental illness. Fred Kwame Asare has more in the following report.
The Australian High Commissioner, Ghana, His Excellency Gregory Endusi's day visit was to acquire first-hand information on Australian investments in the Volta region and explore possibilities of the region benefiting from the direct aid program of the High Commission. He was in the company of the President of the Mental Health and Wellbeing Foundation, Dr. Francis Akwa, whose organization has partnered with the University of Health and Allied Sciences to provide health care for persons with mental illness. They met the leadership of the university and discussed improving mental health care delivery in the country. Professor John Owusu Japon is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences.
We have a School of Nursing and Midwifery which was intended to focus on 4 key areas: regular nursing, midwifery, public health nursing, and mental health nursing. To date, we have not started our program on mental health nursing per se. And it's primarily because of lack of faculty. So for me, I was quite excited when I engaged with Francis a couple of years ago, and this whole collaboration started. So we are looking forward to having some of the graduates, those who are doing their PhDs, particularly in mental health nursing, to be able to return and join us to be able to develop a specific program on mental health nursing. This is a major need in the country, and none of our institutions run a bachelor's program in mental health nursing. All the mental health nurses that we have in country currently do their regular diploma programs and then do some hands-on training in mental health nursing here. And so we are yet to establish a good mental health program.
The team also visited the El Betel Prayer Center, where the foundation provides medical assistance with support from students of the University of Health and Allied Sciences.
It's here in Ghana. What's really important, though, is that our right to practice religion doesn't detract from our right to access healthcare, and also our right to attract good healthcare doesn't detract from our right to practice our religion. So the two need to go hand in hand. And I was pleased to see that today at the prayer camp that we visited, that the prayer camp was giving people access to prayer, which is important for them, for their healing personally, but also inviting the university and the medical professionals to come and provide the medical care that those people need.
The president of the Mental Health and Wellbeing Foundation, Dr. Francis Akwa, implored government to increase budget allocation for mental health.
So mental health has been one of the lowest, and is still one of the lowest supported services within the health sector. It's taken a very long time for a new Mental Health Act to become into play in Ghana. It was enacted in 2012 and is still, well, we can thank the Akufo-Addo government for passing the legislative instrument for the Mental Health Act.
Right, and that'll be all for the bulletin for this evening. I'm Israel. Thank you very much for watching. You have a great weekend.